Okie dokie, everybody. Welcome back. You're here at the Fox Den with Pater Voss, the Papa Fox, and we are going to continue playing Obsidian, or not Obsidian, Pillars of Eternity by Obsidian Entertainment. When we last left off, we had cleared up the Madmer Bridge. I've since traveled over to the Adelwan Bridge, and we are about to get into Defiance Bay. So, let's go ahead and see. We got a new thing on our stronghold. We still have the drunkard, leaving in 1 hour. He's a bad visitor. His accumulated debts, we're not going to do anything about him, but we are going to build something new. Okay, we can get towers. Let's go ahead and get the west curtain wall completed. So that should be good. We definitely want all the security we can get our hands on. That is without a doubt. Okay.
Sure.
Let's be about it and collect all of the collectibles that we can get. Some more special folk. Let's see if there's any...
I'll take a look.
I don't think there's any secrets up here. Okay. Still nothing. Nothing. Let's see what we are going to get ourselves into up here. Let's talk with this guy.
Good day, stranger.
What can I do for you? What can you tell me about Defiance Bay? Sorry, but I don't have the time right now. But it sounds like that dozens crackpot Rowan is stirring up trouble again. He jerks his head at the gate. He'll be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city, liberally flavored with dozens propaganda, of course. I'm looking for the Temple of Wodaka. He scratches his beard. Not sure why you'd want to go there. He shrugs. It's in the first fires if you really want to see it. You seem on edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We've got refugees come in from all parts under some misguided notions that things are actually better here. That the legacy somehow passed us over. So they show up with no prospects and little money and just end up making the whole mess worse. Okay, goodbye. And good luck to you. Never far from the Queen. Okay, Copper Lane. 15 minutes. Let's go see what we can see when we see it. Oh, I'm doing so good. I just had a bunch of coffee in me and had some nice
Defiance
food.
Bay. The city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
Ominous. Let's go see what we can do. Okay, here we are in Copper Lane of Defiance Bay. Cat. Looks like we can take some stuff out of here. What do we got? White leaf. It's a drug.
The city of Defiance, crown jewel of the Deerwood, if you ask the locals, anyway.
Okay, protesters, and this fellow.
Hello.
Rowan's arms are crossed, and his mouth is set in... 1 second, whoa. And his mouth is set in a grim frown as he watches the gathered protesters. He looks ready for a fight. He sizes you up. New in town, eh? You've picked an interesting time to visit Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing from the frontier and finding the legacies no better here. It's the Animancers, Magrum Scorchum, and they nest in this city like rats. You mark my words, though, us dozens are going to put a stop to it. What are you doing out here? He gestures towards the crowd, which buzzes with angry chatter, trying to get folk to see reason. We're in the midst of a crisis, and instead of purging the nefarious forces from our city, the Duke is granting Animancers dangerous liberties. What do you know about animancy? It's the study and manipulation of essences, which any sane person will tell you is the purview of the gods. The Ederians at least have the sense to outlaw it, which is the only good thing you can say about them. It's not like magic, chanting, or the soul readings those ciphers do. It's been around since ancient Ingwithan times, which is why you'll see animancers tinkering with old Ingwithan artifacts. Connor raises a fist to cough discreetly into it. Half-truths all. But he's an enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. Rowan shakes his head. Trouble is, the animancers got no idea what half those artifacts actually do. Not that they'll admit it. Our emphatic friend, I can word good today, is correct about one thing at least. Tell me about the dozens. He taps his chest. We're an organization of interested citizens who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of animancers and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of preening nobles in training these days. Just like militia, the dozens, except for the training, and the discipline, and the code of honor. His eyes gleam. And we're always looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better for the state and better for the state of the country. You have any interest in hearing more? Stop by Admeth's Den sometime. The Expedition Hall. A lot of free thinkers in there. You can set straight all of the nonsense that the nobles and the animancers want you to believe. Might even be some paid work there for motivated types. I'd like to know more about Defiance Bay. Holy moly. What is with me today? This is the capital of the city of the Free Palantate of the Deerwood. We started out as the capital of the Eder colony, but we booted the flaccid scepter from these lands 150 years ago. That's a lot of reading. Okay, we're going to skip over a lot of this. It's a major port, and we have 5 districts. Copper Lane is primarily a market district. Also got the Expedition Hall directly north of here. Okie dokie, that's also where dozens of murders, okay. And the Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Eerie Place, basically a library. Okay. Eerie indeed. It might be less so if more kith stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit Pater Voss and see what mysteries are revealed. Okay, tell me about Brackenbury. Nobility over there. It's the Sanitarium, Hadret House, which is where all the spies are. And the Sanitarium, which is all about the animancy. First fires. That's where the revolution started, hence the name. Okay, politicians and panderers. And as the Ducal Palace, the Valiant Embassy, and the Crucible Keep, where the Crucible Knights are. There's also the old Temple of Tobodica. Let's look at Andra's gift. Got the name because it was a wetland, and imperial days, sailors, common folk, a few thugs. There's the salty mast. Oh, there we go. Heritage Hill. It used to be one of the more prestigious districts in the cities. Heroes of the Revolution claimed plots up there. Okay, so it's a cemetery. You wouldn't have heard, but something happened over there. A couple of months ago. The authorities sealed it off, and they're keeping their mouths shut. But mark my words, animancy's to blame. Talk about some. Farewell. Okay. You, sir, can go stuff it. I don't like people like him. It's one thing to want some sort of ethical oversight to science, but it's another thing entirely to eschew science entirely. Which basically, the animancers in this game are kind of like the analog for scientists. Animancy is one of those things that is, like, the way souls operate in this fictional world is a thing that you can test and measure and verify. And we got a chat thing for Eder. And you'll see a lot of animancers like we did in the dungeons of Raedric's Keep, and they do need someone to tell them that, okay, you can't do certain things, but it's a complicated subject. Let's actually go ahead, and without me blathering on completely off script about this, let's go ahead and see what Eder has to say. If you want to get into a conversation about this, by all means, give me a comment. I'd be happy to talk about it.
The dozens. Pretty sure you won't find one among them who stood within 100 miles of that bridge when the Godhammer went off. Too bad, too. Assumed there'd be less of them.
Why do they call themselves the Dozens? Was 12 Deerwoodens stood outside Halgot Citadel, waiting for Widewind to cross the bridge there. They had to hold him there long enough for the Godhammer to detonate, so that's what they did. Godhammer? That's what they called the bomb they blew up Widewind with. Don't know much about it other than that. Anything kills a living god, guess you gotta name it. What do you have against the Dozens? Nothing serious. Nothing I don't have against a lot of folks anyway. The Dozens, they like to take things into their own hands. Gets ugly sometimes. We don't have them in Gilded Vale, but they'd be right at home there. They picked that name so they could do what they wanted and feel like it was right. Got nothing to do with honor or sacrifice. They like to invoke Magrin too, when they especially want to feel right. Somehow I don't think she'd be too impressed with that lot. It's really interesting the wording they gave for Eder's things right here. They picked that name so they could do what they wanted and feel right, and when they want to especially feel right. This is a very important point that they're making very subtly here, which is just because you call yourself something doesn't make you any less prone to be a mean person, to put it lightly. I mean, just because you are X doesn't mean you are also Y. It depends a lot on your actions and how you correct yourself after you've done things that are reprehensible. I'm sure she'd like to set him on fire anytime they use her name, but the gods probably got rules against that kind of thing. People hide behind symbols so they can't question. There's plenty of other groups that are better reflections of the figures that inspired them. Let's go with this one, actually. Because there are people who are part of groups who might actually be... plenty of other groups that are better reflections of the figures that inspired them. Let's go with this. Sure. I just can't think of any of them off the top of my head. I shouldn't say that. There's a group of Theothasians, the night market. They still do right by their god. Helped to get a lot of people to safety during the purges. They're easy to forget about, though, because they have to work in secret. You can thank people like the Dozens for that. Let's continue on. Good idea. Okay, let's go ahead and see what... Oh,
hey there.
Come on. Okay, what's this? The calm waters smell faintly of refuse. Ew. Okay, what do we got here? The Goose and Fox. Oh, by the way, this is an absolutely ginormous map. We're probably going to take a couple of episodes just to get through this area. So, beware. Let's go ahead and see what we got in the Goose and Fox. Doo-ba-doo-boo-boo. Diddle-doo-diddle-doo-doo. I think what we're going to do at some point, though, is we're going to hire a adventurer and send them back off to our keep to deal with people we don't want to deal with ourselves. Okay, what have we got here? Okay. Let's go ahead and talk to the bishop.
Stranger.
The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an amua. A handle protrudes from his back, and his face is set in a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns it in one broad hand, but doesn't drink from it. Tell me about yourself. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Barath, and now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. He shifts, and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? How'd you go from religion to taverns? The journey isn't as long as you'd think. It started with Hollowborn, and with this. He takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the pewter cup. It was my sister's son. He takes a drink. At the beginning of Widewind's legacy, he was one of the first. Never expected there would be so many after him. Tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Yet every year more parents were grieving for their Hollowborn children, and the gods were silent. That is tough. One of the lines I remember from the Two Towers in Lord of the Rings, the movies anyways, is no parent should ever have to bury their child. That's tough. He leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Baroth promises rebirth. Cycles. But the only cycle I found was this one. He taps the bar. Have a drink, have another, and another until I couldn't remember how I got home. Wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they left days before and I just hadn't noticed. They were gone, so I came here. I've cleaned up since then. Not that I've found my answers. He tosses the cup back. I've just stopped asking questions. Oh, this is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of Deerwood and Independence by a traveling scholar, name of Errol of Levi. He wanted a place where the kith of all backgrounds could gather and hash out issues facing their new country. I should mention, I really like the use of the word kith here. Basically, the idea is that we're not dealing with just humans, and calling them such would... Oh, sorry about that. I kind of was adjusting something behind the mic. Using kith acknowledges the fact there are more than just humans here. One of my very favorite webcomics is called Schlock Mercenary, and the author and artist, Howard Taylor, he uses the term "sophont," which is awesome. So there we go. He rests his elbows on the polished wood of the bar. It didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the Gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Deerwoodens have never been known to turn down an argument. He takes a sip from the tiny cup. I can imagine things got interesting. Well, soon kith were coming from the farms and settlements, too. He waves at the door as if expecting a crowd to bustle in. This place got even more popular with the valiant sailors than the Salty Mast. That was the problem. He drains his cup. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. This is very true. And fair-mindedness and civil debate, it's not something that ever has a set rulebook. It's a negotiation, and it operates a lot on trust. Errol found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thane. When he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thane. He shrugs, spreading his hand over the bar as he surveys the room. But Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. If you ask me, he skipped town, hid out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. He cracks a wry grin. If only he could see it now. Let's hire an adventurer. Plenty of those around. Let's go. How much money do we have? Level 4, level 5, level 3. Let's go with a level 3. Accept. And we're going to make this male. Let's go with a godlike. Dexterity, intellect. Rowan. Actually, elf, no. Dwarf, no. Yeah, let's go with godlike. I like godlikes. They're pretty cool. Okay, fire, death, fire, battle forged, glow-like material. Okay, cool. That's kind of neat. Gaining damage reduction. Moon. That's pretty neat. Nature godlike. Let's actually go with the nature godlike. There we go. Oh, whoops. Oh, body type, right, okay, cool. Orlin, human, Amoa. Yeah, we're gonna go with this. A big honkin' dude. Okay. Let's make him a barbarian. Yeah! Let's go with that. Frenzy, barbaric yell. Let's go with Frenzy. Yeah, Frenzied Rage. Okay. Lots of might, lots of constitution, and a buttload of dexterity. Actually, let's give him a little bit more might. Down in the intellect, up in the might. That should be good. Okay. Dexterity, resolve, intellect, constitution, might. Let's go with the living lens. Okay, colonist, survival, lore, colonist. Not that extra survival. Okay. Let's go with that. We're going to keep the colors the way they are.
I'm here.
Let's go.
I'll lead the way.
Cocky voice. Yes, there we go. Name is going to be. I really love the cyberpunk novel by Crumbs. Can't remember the Neil Stevenson. It's Snow Crash is the book, anyways. So we're gonna name him Hero Protagonist because he's actually not going to be the hero nor the protagonist. He's just going to be one of our little cronies. Accept. Done. Okay, we're going to accept this. He's going to back either or your stronghold if you've acquired it. Okay, we're going to accept that, and he's going to go off and handle stuff for us. Okay, let's see. This Stelgar's pelt is thick with dust and moths. The plaque below the beast reads Maiden Falls 2682. Let's go ahead and see what's up here. Earl of Levi looks on enigmatically from the canvas. I can word good. Oh, that miserable bastard. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her, and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin, and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slams a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. What are you doing here? She takes a long drink from her glass, just trying to calm down, trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave. At last, Kainra looks up at you, and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give my fiancé, Pernisk, only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends. They're not exactly pleasant company. Who hit you? She shakes her head. I know how this looks, but you don't understand. It's not like Pernisk. It's these new friends of his. They've brought out the worst in him. Tell me about these new friends. They come into our house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm no fool. I know what it means. Pernisk makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they came to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, but not under my roof. She scowls, then winces, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Svef changes you, I guess. The Pernisk I knew wouldn't have squashed a spider. I never thought he'd... She trails off, still feeling the swollen, discolored flesh. Okay, but Svef makes people calm and listless. This should make them violent. Let's go with Intellect 10. I thought Svef just made people lay around not doing much. Kara shrugs. I don't really know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Maybe I could go talk to him. Her hand rests on the table and she clenches it into a white-knuckled fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. I just want to have to give this back to him and have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I were back there myself, I know what'll happen. I'll lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these things. Points to a bruise. But I've heard you're trustworthy. If you give this back to him, he'll know what to be done. I'll take it. She looks to you and nods. The house is just north of here. Just, please, don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of the episode. But yeah, this is not something you fool around with. Domestic abuse is never. They do deal with a lot of interesting things in this game, and this is one of them. But Yeah, it's not fun, and we don't exactly deal with it the best way we can in this current time frame, but there we go. Alrighty, well, if you enjoyed, go ahead and hit that like button, or give me some feedback if you prefer. If you enjoy my other videos, then a subscription to the channel would be awesome. As always, it's great to see you all here at the Fox Den. I hope you come back next time and pull up a chair for some more Pillars of Eternity. Alrighty, you take care now. Bye.